History has known them as ruthless warriors. But the Vikings were more than swords and axes. In the freezing cold of the north, they developed clever and sometimes crazy ways to survive the famine years. Today, are you ready to learn 3 unknown tactics of Vikings who fought hunger? The icy winds of the north were a Viking reality, making the land barren and the winters deadly. Agriculture was often inadequate, animals were valuable, and each one was considered a fortune. So what did the Vikings do when hunger came? The answer: they resorted to radical but ingenious methods such as blood fermentation. Without killing the animals, some blood was taken, for example from sheep or cattle, and this fluid was used as a rich source of protein. In order to keep this blood intact, the Vikings resorted to fermenting it. During this process, barley flour was usually mixed with milk or whey to activate the blood's natural enzymes and increase its nutritional value. The resulting mixture not only became a durable food, but also provided protein throughout the winter. Blood is rich in iron, vitamin B12, hemoglobin, and amino acids. Fermentation improves the absorption of these components, inhibits the proliferation of harmful microorganisms, and allows the growth of immune-supporting probiotic bacteria. Modern biochemistry shows that these techniques support gut health and reduce the effects of malnutrition. Archaeological excavations at a Viking settlement in Iceland have found the remains of dried blood and lactic acid on the inner walls of wooden barrels. This shows that these concoctions were not just fictional, but were actually practiced in history and were vital tactics. For the Vikings, it was not just food, but a survival strategy. For them, bloodshed was not only a way to survive on the battlefield, but also on the winter nights. For the Vikings, nature was both a battlefield and a table. There was an overlooked but vital miracle: lichens. These strange plant-like organisms growing on hard rocks in the cold and arid lands of the north could make the difference between life and death for the Vikings. Lychens are actually a symbiotic partnership between an algae and a fungus. This makes them both hardy and suitable for living in harsh environments. Their nutritional value is low, but that doesn't matter in times of famine. The Vikings, especially in the northern regions of Iceland and Norway, used to produce a kind of survival bread by drying and grinding lichens when there was no flour to make bread. This bread was far from the soft wheat bread we know. It was hard, bitter, and difficult to digest. However, the Vikings would boil it in lye, an alkaline solution, to remove the harmful acids in the lichens and make it more digestible. This was an ingenious way of feeding on nature, just as coffee was roasted and brewed ages later. Scientifically speaking, some lichen species contain carbohydrates, fiber, and small amounts of protein. Species such as Cladonia rangiferina, reindeer lichen, in particular, have been a source of food for northern peoples, both for themselves and their animals. An example from history. In the 13th century Icelandic sagas, some families lived for months on only lichen soup and lichen bread during times of great famine. Some legends even say that children who ate lichen bread would have teeth like stones, folklore that emphasizes the hard structure and mineral content of lichens. For the Vikings, lichen was not just a moss, but a hidden treasure hidden in the harsh embrace of nature. Perhaps their greatest strength was not their axes or their ships. It was their resilience, which found life even among the stones. Only the brave survived the freezing winds of the north. For the Vikings, winter was the thin line between life and death, and that's why cold salting became one of the ancient secrets of survival. Cold salting was the process of coating meat, fish, or some vegetables with a high percentage of salt and storing them for months in cool caves or underground cellars. This method reduced the growth of bacteria to almost zero, making the food durable for a long time. But it wasn't just a matter of sprinkling salt around. The right ratio, temperature and dryness were vital. Otherwise, the meat or fish would either spoil or turn to stone from the salt. For example, hardfiske, a salted fish, was a staple winter food for the Vikings on the Norwegian coast. The fish was first cleaned, then hung on thin sticks and dried in the freezing wind. It was then cold salted and stored. The hardened fish was sharp as a sword, so much so that Vikings sometimes beat it with sticks to soften it. This technique was not only food preservation, but also a social ritual. Families would come together before winter, and after the slaughter of animals, everyone would join hands, process, salt, dry, and store the meat together. This ritual represented both survival and social solidarity. For the Vikings, hunger was an enemy to be fought not only with the stomach, but also with the mind. Today, these survival secrets are a reflection of the intelligence of millennia ago. But do you think modern man can be so creative?